Gabba gabba hey everyone, in today's lesson lies an important part of history. Not that history, because that's not where we want to be, but instead a rather influential part of musical history. The Ramones! The Ramones! The Ramones! The name alone has had a great effect on people. Teenagers have been lobotomized, warthogs have been saved, many cretins have been hopping. Once you learn the lyrics, you never forget them because they deliver such a massive supply of energy and their own distinct sound altogether. Because they're probably the greatest punk band to exist. And what a better way to listen to them than on the vinyl! Ha 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 ha! We're gonna be talking about their vinyl today!
So these first four Ramones albums are the most famous because they defined punk in the 70s and they continue to do so even more now. They're raw, they're energetic, they're fun to listen to. Oh my god. Now all these are reissues. All of them were done by Rhino except for Rocket to Russia, which I believe was done by Sire a couple of years ago. All of them sound really powerful. Rocket to Russia seems to be a bit quiet, but it still sounds clear. This first Ramones album right here, it's 29 minutes long. It has the most primitive production of any Ramones album, but it is fun. It has some of their most famous songs like Blitzkrieg Bop, Beyond the Brat, Chainsaw. Who doesn't love it? The lyric sheet isn't anything special. Now, Leave Home is one of the more underrated Ramones albums. It came out the same year as Rocket to Russia, and it's fun. In my opinion, it's probably better than the first album because the production's better and it has songs like Pinhead, which just stay with you no matter what. This album's also the first appearance of the Ramones logo, you know, the one with the eagle. This version has Carbona Not Glue, which was removed for copyright reasons, and it's a funny song. I just love these pictures of the band with these albums. Rocket to Russia seems to be a little more tightly constructed. The musicianship here is better because the riffs are more powerful, the drumming is better, and the production is just heavier. The songs are catchier, and a lot of these songs appear on Gray's Hits albums. And you gotta love the drawing on the back of the album. It just looks really cool. Looks like something a talented high schooler would do. Road to Ruin was a little softer than their previous three albums because it featured more pop-oriented songs such as Needles and Pins, but you gotta remember that the Ramones were influenced by a lot of 60s pop bands, so this is really, it's always been a mainstay in their music. Many songs on this album were featured in the awesome movie Rock and Roll High School. It's a cult movie about this Ramones fan who wants to see them, and this evil principal's trying to stop her from it, so it's up to the Ramones to do something about it. Ha 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 ha! A lot of people like to say the last great Ramones album was Road to Ruin, and this is because their fifth album, End of the Century, showcased a more pop-oriented sound. And in a way, they're right, you know, this, and I gotta love the back right here, a Phil Spector production produced by Phil Spector. I wonder who produced it. Anyway, but he was known for doing this wall of sound type production and involving a lot of guest musicians. In a way, the fans are right in the fact that this is kind of a sellout album because a lot of these songs were made for radio play. But the thing is, if you think back to all the Ramones albums beforehand, they've always had some of a pop-oriented sound of their music. You know, I mean, think about I Want to Be Your Boyfriend, Needles and Pins. I mean, they kind of had this 60s pop kind of sound going on. So, you know, it's always been present in their music, but it's still a good rock and roll album, although it's the one that feels the most like a chore to listen to.
End of the Century wasn't the only album to try to garner more radio attention and success. Here we have Pleasant Dreams, which came out a year later. It's a really good album. It features a lot less of the guest musicians and the pop-oriented songs that plagued End of the Century. It's still poppier than a lot of the rest of their catalog, but it's still an enjoyable listen. Although I never enjoyed the artwork. The artwork looks more like a jazz album than it does a Ramones album. Originally, they were going to have a picture of their faces looking at the camera, and that was going to be the artwork, but if you think about it, 10 of the Ramones albums have a picture of them. So, in a way, this is kind of a break from all that. And also, the back cover is a little disappointing as there's only a picture of them in the middle. Nothing too special, but it's only a minor complaint, but I like the back of artworks. Like, Rocket to Russia had a really good drawing. Anyway, but this album sounds really good. It sounds a lot rawer and bassier than the CD does. and it's an enjoyable listen. It really is. And of course you got that 70s punkish type inlay right here. Now, something I forgot to mention was that after End of the Century, these albums didn't get reissues until Brain Drain. For some reason they didn't reissue Pleasant Dreams, they didn't reissue Too Tough to Die, they didn't reissue Halfway to Sanity, and I wonder why, because the Ramones are such a big and influential punk band. So these next few albums are going to be original copies, and I'm proud to have them because they sound organic. They're definitely good time travel albums. You know, you can definitely tell that these were made in the 1980s, and they sound really good, especially compared to their remastered CD counterparts. So the Ramones albums for the next few years have declined in popularity, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they weren't trying to make quality music. For example, Subterranean Jungle. You got this album. It lacks all the horns and all the guest musicians and most of the poppiness that plagued End of the Century. I mean, it still has the occasional traditional Ramones pop song, like I Need Your Love and My Kind of Girl, but at the same time, it has the real angry songs such as Time Bomb and Outsider. Yeah, gotta love these songs. And the whole mix is just odd, and I never heard anything like it. It sounds, the drums at times sound like just pops, tambourine hits, claps. But it's a really good sounding album. I really like the artwork. Then you got Too Tough to Die, which came out in 1984. This was even heavier. And this even featured some hardcore punk elements on there. There's a song on there called Endless Vacation. It just rules. Perfect mosh pitting material. I like the artwork. It has a real 80s font to it. And compared to the remaster, it sounds a little more organic. The Ramones are just perfect for vinyl because of this. They sound organic, they sound raw, the original mixes are just fun. Even though some of the mixes are odd and sometimes even bad. That's what makes these albums as cool as they are. Of course, there's the occasional keyboard on this album, Too Tough to Die, because there's the whole new wave scene going on, but at the same time, it's really heavy. It's probably the Ramones' heaviest album.
Okay, so Animal Boy was released in 1985. It still had some of the hardcore punk songs that were on Too Tough to Die, but it also was more of a synth pop album, because it had more synthesizers and songs like She Belongs to Me and Something to Believe in. Now, some of the lyrics are a little stupid, but I gotta say, there are some awesome songs up here. There's Something to Believe in, which is really inspirational. And I absolutely love the song My Brain is Hanging Upside Down. It's so awesome that it was featured in the movie School of Rock during the montage. It's so awesome it makes my brain hang upside down. And how does this sound? It sounds organic and it sounds awesome.
Help, I'm stuck!
Up next, 1987, Halfway to Sanity. This is probably their most metal-sounding album ever. This one, it's even less punk. It's more like hard rock, and it's got even less pop elements than any other album they've ever had. There is like Bye Bye Baby and Go Little Camaro Go with Debbie Harry on it. That's a rather shiny back to the album, isn't it? And it's a really cool album. It's got some good songs on it, and this is a promo, actually. I think that a radio station owned it, and it sounds incredible. They definitely did good. Anyway, so here's the lyric sheet right here. And here is like some chickens, I think. Gotta love punks and their love for animals. Then there's Brain Drain! This is a brain drain in itself because Dee Dee Ramone left the band because his brain was drained by all the drugs and the arguing. Oh, it's so sad and heartbreaking. And this is the Let Them Eat vinyl reissue. So this is the first album to get reissued since End of the Century. Now, check this out. It's a gatefold. And the only lyrics you'll find on here are for Pet Sematary, and that makes sense because it's the most popular song on the album. Of course, you got a brain right here. It's probably mine because mine's usually in a jar. And you got the Ramones reading the X-Men comics right here. This is an underrated album. I like it because the songs are structured like goth rock songs. And it just sounds so much different than all the other Ramones albums because it's a little darker. And it's kind of underrated because there are songs like Ignorance is Bliss and Punishment Fits the Crime, which are just really powerful sounding, you know? I mean, the way the drums just pound, just rule the world. I like it.
Dee Dee Ramone finally left the band in 1989 after Brain Drain, and he was replaced by CJ Ramone. Kind of a controversial character, but I personally like his voice a lot. If you don't like him on the first two albums he did right here, then you'll like him on Adios Amigos, which is probably my favorite Ramones album. These are the final three Ramones albums right here. The original pressings go for quite a hefty price, but these are the Let Them Eat vinyl reissues, and they're worth the money because not only do they sound good, but they look cool as well. Let's see, there's the back of the album, and then when you open it up, that one looks pretty cool. What about this one? Acid Eaters, their infamous cover album. Let's see, there's the back of that one. In fact, Peter Townshend from The Who actually got to sing Substitute on this one, so that's a plus. I really like the songs that CJ sang on as well. Showcases his vocal talents. And look at this picture of them on the back. It looks really awesome. I also like the spine, how it sticks out. It really sticks out in my record collection because this is one of the brightest spines I own. These are all black vinyl. But as you can see, they're packaged really well, and like I said before, they sound really good too. Well, that's the end for the vinyl, so as a bonus, I would like to show you my DVD of We're Outta Here, their final show. This never got an official DVD release, but this is an unofficial European edition. I don't know if it's any different from the VHS version, but it's really cool. It's got some interviews, and the last live show has some cool special guests. To quote Rock and Roll High School, the Ramones are today's Beethovens. The Ramones are not dead. Every album's a legacy. Thank you for watching, and thank you to every Ramone there has ever been.